Yeah, nane samala tashtele. Richard Matsu, Tandi, the cousin Lamaran the Maimba, Tiringatsu, Josh Sabashika. Yes, Yam, the Yam, good chat in Chonga. And the paper with chunks.
So first of all, tashdele to everyone online and in person. So today we are starting a new topic. So we have now the Lamrim classes going, and now we're gonna try to keep both of them happening at the same time. And I rejoice in this fact.
Yeah. What the Tiringatsu Tanda Jahati Tandile Timtazi, mean la Timta course, the counter, Titanda Carresondi, touching Nambe a Tatup Senator, Tig Chitang Saptanda Wash, go Rambanda Wash, Karsatama, so Samlana, sociologic Saptanda Wash, Chicharayana, they are way on Sari Samba, teach and the animals to go to there is.
So today the topic that we are sorry. Today, the topic that we are starting is called philosophical schools, the Buddhist philosophical schools. And the way to understand the philosophical schools are also called tenets is as a map. So it's a map with many stages of how should we practice, etc. So I think it's very beneficial if we, from the outset, have this understanding of the philosophical schools as a map.
Yeah, Kaina, Tamta Quartal and Namji, Lob to Chivi Kable, Lobion, Tachi Kablia. Tamta so Kanti Chungres, Jantanchi. Yantamda Soso, Honey, Tatup Siena, Kososo, and the Lob Sandrichmas on the carre, Standandichi, and she looked under Shella Samatana, looked at Soso, Lob Senkare, Tatum to Koran, take carres in Jantan.
And there are two different ways of learning about the philosophical schools, about the tenets. One of them is investigating, is learning how these philosophical schools came to be, a bit about their history. Another way is checking the lessons, the topics that each philosophical schools talk about.
Yeah. Taina Tandadi Namjing Gomba Nandroina and that's Lobjong Chetan country someday.
Usually in the monasteries, how do we study?
And the Datum Tare Chongre Jangore, Chongtong history, the Chiche, and Stumda so, Tavi Namja, Tatu Shatam country, the Shekavores, the Youngures.
In the monasteries, we study in these two ways. So we study how each of the philosophical schools, they came to be, a bit about their history, and we also study about how they present their views, how do they explain their views, how do they present the path.
Tedanyam de Tamta Yang Kablia, Ani Anchi Nambi Tamta Tatuta, Mantamba, Tamas in a Churabi Tamtasi, Tadelia Mambaji Uncle, so that don't get Dingas and Tindi Kor, this is how my youngers.
And together also, we study not only the Buddhist philosophical schools that developed in India, we also study together with this the non-Buddhist tenets, philosophical schools, for example, Sankhya, Vedanta, etc.
What is a budget on the Navazo Ticolia, Shintoyona, and the budget tip somebody on that could tip somebody on your rest. You know, Tsering the money, Tanda in Santa Tia, Trimtag any logia, Kachia means, so any young Trimta Shambatsu Korea, Kachamay, but now be Trimta so that of control don't carry.
If anyone has interest in these topics, for example, about these non-Buddhist philosophical tenets, philosophical schools, such as Sankhya, Vedanta, etc., and also if you have interest about the history, how these philosophical schools came to be, there's a very good book. Actually, I have the book right here. Geshe is recommending this book, which is the third volume of the series called Science and Philosophy in the Indian Buddhist Classics. And here it's very detailed. It's very good about the non-Buddhist, actually, philosophical schools and etc. But in this class, we are not going in the history part, how the philosophical schools arose. And we're also not going to the non-Buddhist philosophical schools. We're going to focus on the Buddhist tenets.
Yeah. Tadi ane nambi chamta di shebe kabli ya ta tangbo kandiri shik nambi ni chik tatu di chongre se honde ta chik ane ta chik nambi tatu ku tomba bo ane ta da chak tomba sanje koron tangbo ane chik koron sanje rumba kandiri chong sha se di koron shitsan rupu tiri di shija chen di shija kore pena ane sanje chonten di tombo ane chik ane chong chuk tik je tsir teni pari tsoksa tang, tamalaya sanje tang. Te tang rinpa, o tela, te shisha chene, tela chumta soso ga, tas mi chik nga su ringawa shik sanje go na tangbo kar ko pari tsoksa tang kar. O te shisha chene chumta, te shisha chene, te tsamba kelengare, tangbo sanje. Ta te tang, ta tenra wo kante chik go gre, tela ya, tenri chungaya la kar go gre, siongde, chumta soso nre shikya go gre. Pena sanje tang kandiri tangbo chanchu chutik je tang kandiri part sosa tang kandiri tangma sanje tang kandiri chumda susu gante shiri jam ta dodana sanje se yade ngonzin che tang ta nga tu tsamba ta chik sanje se chong yoba keling yore mambo shige iche yore ta ina te kandiri chongma chong se.
So first of all, how does a philosophical school comes to be called Buddhist? So how does it come to be? So there are these three things that serve as a basis for the development of these philosophical schools, which are three things that they accept. So first of all, they accept the existence of a Buddha, of a fully enlightened being. And that at the beginning of the path of this Buddha, there is the generation of the mind of enlightenment, which is also called bodhicitta. So at first, the Buddha will become Buddha. Yeah, the first he or she generates this bodhicitta, and then in between, for three countless eons, there is the accumulation of there's the two accumulations. That's of need.
Garba chame sunda tsoksa. Garba chame
sunda.
Tsoksa ya ni. Ina de ti tsotala chame sunda. Tsoksa ya de tsoni di shi tsoni tsotera. Te saya ti tsojere no de. Garba chame sunda.
Shigala togni eklegere.
Tsoni kelen ka tsama.
Yes, so in between there is this three countless eons of accumulation of merits, and at the end there is the actualization, there is the achievement of the state of a Buddha. So all the philosophical schools, they agree on this point, and then they go into more extensive explanations on how for example, the mind of enlightenment is generated, how bodhicitta is generated, how this accumulation of merits is achieved, how to identify the state of Buddha that is achieved at the end of the path, etc. Then there are some ways of explaining, but they all accept these points. They have faith in the existence of a Buddha, etc. And then in these three categories, each of the philosophical schools are going to have different ways of explaining.
Yeah. That didn't only that chick and that sanje de ya sanje ne. Sanje ya sanje ne. Korangi tambo that chick sanje song de ne desen simro chick sanje kon song ja and chudele tambo korangi song ja warana sin tanda demba ji chungur korea. Tene parte ya ane tanda jago bombana tseni me pasita chungur. Chungur barbati che tamalaya ane chungur tama kola tama sum sanje song de yang tsama desa sum dishi nalaya duya de tsama kene kre
tsama kene gire
yeah manda so warta chik sanje chu manda ramba song yo de ta oni karsurta chumta su so warta pen ta sanje do dana dinichi lana tiksa sanje song ja de descendo ane desa sum gana namji desa jingu chen de sum che 데세레레데 좀다 소소 수어 가르송 마송데 좀다 소소.
Yeah. Uh, and when the Buddha Shakyamuni, he came to this planet, so he gave teachings, yeah. And these teachings, they are usually divided into 3 phases or 3 categories, we can say, which are also called the 3 turnings of the wheels, yeah. So at first there was the first turning of the wheel in the town of Varanasi in India, where he taught about the 4 noble truths. And then at second there was in Rajagriha in the vulture's peak. There was the second turning of the wheel, and then at last there was the third turning of the wheel. I'm not sure the name of the place in Sanskrit, but each of the philosophical tenets. So they all there is an agreement about this division in this threefold division of the teachings of the Buddha. But each of the philosophical schools, each of the 4 philosophical schools, they're going to take one of these categories, one of these turnings of the wheels as the main focus of their tenets. Each of them is going to focus on one of these wheel turnings. The link doesn't work. Wait, it's somebody saying that the link is not working. Let me maybe send him 1 second. One second, I'm sorry.
안다디 아니 중국 만다왔음 상제만 송샤 들어. 아니 중국을 만다왔음 거라 텔레야 텔라 직대네 소라 다 텔라 때네 지난이 상제 셔시비 갑래야 상제 그런 셔시비 갑래야 좀다 상제 그런 쉬기심이 갑 상제 옆에 갑 안에 무시 좀다 시세 같이 되어 말이 같이 중요 말이 다 상제에 아니 펩세비 질세는다 샤나 샤스 그런 취탐제 송 대세비 질이야 다디 상제를 다기 강로 송제 라만하신 콜로스무 제바다마 제비 갑래야 되니 좀다 세난다 먼저 쓰면 좀 거야 되니 정레스 대 정당의 관계에서 다 상제 송세 탐셰데 대지 럽센도 얘는 진짜로시 럽센도시 아니 차고치나 대센도 실마 거야요 마시 어딘데 첸니 근데 좀 다시 남자도 정레스
And at the time of the Buddha, there were the 3 turnings of the wheels. So the Buddha, in a way, divided his teachings into these 3 turnings of the wheels. But at his time, there wasn't a division between the 4 philosophical schools. There was no talk about the Vaibhashika, Sautantrika, etc. These philosophical schools that we're going to study. So after he passed into parinirvana, after he passed away, then when commentaries started to be made about the teachings of the Buddha and understanding these 3 turnings of the wheel, then we started to have the division between these 4 philosophical schools, which were divided in a way, were divided as sort of classes, you know, as you have like the first class, second class, third class in a university. They also divided like this, like a gradual approach. Yeah.
Yeah. 다 대한 간대 총례세 데다 팀다 대농 기타 상지 송샤 당보디 콜로 당보세데 아니 저 아니 콜로 당보디 아니 저다 지스 송에서 거라 텔라 때네 네 단단 도디바다 체타마바 저 콜로 당보 시작체네 대상지 송이 되는지 소데 김체네 대강네 네 표현치겠어
Hello, Didi. So for the first turning of the wheel, the main schools, the main philosophical schools that focus, that accept this turning of the wheel, is the first 2 ones. They are called In English, they're called Great Exposition School and Sutra School. In Sanskrit, for those who know in Sanskrit, it's the Vaibhashika and the Sautantrika school.
Yeah. 다 권역에 주어네 산제 송세데 단 콜로 담보스 뭐라 콜로 담보데 산제 다치 송 주어데 주어레스 콜로 담보랑데 산제 송해바.
And these two schools, these two schools, Vaibhashika and Sautrantika, or the Great Exposition School and Sutra School, they accept this first turning of the wheel as the words of the Buddha. They say these are the words of the Buddha.
다데네 아니 콜로 parbade 주 단다 아니 오마베 주 콜로 parba데 지자친 디강이야다 인도여레스.
And the second turning of the wheel, which philosophical school takes it as the main teaching? The middle way school, also called Madhyamika in Sanskrit.
다이나 단데 되네 콜로 타마데 주어 가르스나 단다 아니 센잠바 주 콜로 타마데 상제 단 콜로 타미지 선다운이 저거나 콜로 타마데 코란서 다치 아니 또 주어 딩이도 근도 제 주어 손에 이지 선다운이다 남자 담시시 오레스.
And the last turning of the wheel, the third turning of the wheel, the followers of this turning of the wheel are called mind-only school in English and Chittamatra in Sanskrit. And they take this final turning of the wheel as the definite meaning of the teachings of the Buddha, just like the middle way school takes the second turning of the wheel as the definitive meaning.
Yeah. 다이나 다다티 점다 제제게 소소가 다 상제 송 송야데 점다 담보니나 콜라 담보체 데네 우마바이나 콜라 바바 센잠반 콜라 타마들와 데소체 다이나 점다 제제 다 징마소치 에 강자 레 담보와세나다 딘데지 담보네 상제 파르티 되시 점다 제제 되시 저레스 고 담보 이치 남다 남아서 장해 남 나숨 정하지 않도다 남름바 나시도 컨터 대상만이 손을 겨는 돈은 거 아니 좀 다소소서 되시죠.
And this philosophical school, so just going back, so the followers of the first turning of the wheel, so there are three turnings of the wheel, the teachings of the Buddha. The followers of the first turning of the wheel, they're called Great Exposition School and a Sutra School. The followers of the second turning of the wheel are the middle way school. Of the last wheel, the third turning of the wheel, they're called mind-only school. So they take different turnings of the wheel as the main point, but okay, I hadn't seen. But they all explain inside these philosophical schools, inside their presentation, they all explain the whole path from the point that we are right now as beginners until we become a Buddha. They all explain in their own way how to achieve this state and all the stages in between, usually divided either into the 5 paths, etc.
Yeah. But indeed,
mind-only school. There's 3 schools, right? I forgot one.
4 schools. So the first one, Great Exposition School, and the Sutra School. These are followers of the first turning of the wheel. Middle way school, follower of the second turning of the wheel, and mind-only school, follower of the third turning.
다 딘디 제 qable야. 다 단단 앞서고 들이 좀 다디 양고 제 땅에서 그러다 간디치는 기침 보여래. 내 양고야 돼 가르에서. 단단디 좀더 수수 지 남자세 시죠 그래. 근데 남지 남자 타만 집에 남자세 시. 지네 거를 가르 기침 보래. 지 제텔라 때네 람 가르 장고 그래. 가르 장고. 이 장발라 때네 다 드바니 드바 가르 빵고 때 빵네 상제 가르 요래세. 디그람바드 단다 네 좀 단디 나오네 되시죠 그래. 대자베 qabla 땡이 받은 거 수. 백 고치고야 기침을 차 그랬어.
And why is it important in the study of Buddhism, why is it important to study these philosophical schools, these tenets? Because each one of these tenets, they are going to present, they provide the presentation of the basis, the path, and the result. So in their presentation, their explanation of what is the basis of the path, this means on top of what, on top of which view, what basis is the path going to be developed? Are we going to walk the path? And then walking the path and identifying which mistakes, which negative emotions, negative views need to be eliminated. So, and then by eliminating these negative views that were identified, then we can achieve this resultant state. So they talk about the result of the state of the Buddha. So learning about these philosophical schools, you learn about this basis, about the path, how to practice, and how to achieve the result they describe.
Yeah. They know that when a Ji Namshak said, the Shija want to come, Ji Namshak, Dembani says, Dembani said, it's Sama, except Sama killing.
And then we talk, so the three, right? The basis, path, and result in the presentation of the tenets. So talking about the presentation of basis. So in the basis, all of the four philosophical schools, this is where they're going to talk about the two truths. And they all use this word, two truths.
They know that Ji Dembani, the Sama killing, Anabaso Mabuku, Dembani said. Then Dembani didn't research up country Kablea. And it turned us also Dembani wins it on Madrid. Okay, Dembani. Ji Nekolan, Dembani said, the numbers, Dembani said, Nenga, the number Sanji, the Sanji Rambo, Shizato, Colon. Shizato, the Kugania, the as a building to Jamna, make a Danish Kura, the Gania Jacoira, the Dorchagri, the Hachan Kichimuchagri. Or they only that day Namshading as a pay she got.
Beauty Karina, the Sangi Gopal.
Sanjay Kumar. That in here is just the Yobala Teni tea Namshati, Lok Janshi, Tenyam Leche. Any Lam Garamba Jam, Tamale and Rivakartoyatu. Kongaso building or long where they that there was a similar. When it's a Karim but Shiko, when it on the Tatong de Choni Gonic, the Shijap, the Jania, so we Jeliata, building Karnare, semi Hajita.
Yes, so all of these philosophical schools, when they talk about the basis, so right, basis, path, and results. So when they talk about the basis, they talk about the two truths. Maybe many of you have heard about these two truths before. They are the conventional truth and ultimate truth. So this is called basis because on the top of learning about this, on the top of this reality, the way that you identify this reality, conventional truth and ultimate truth, on the top of this, you can build something, you can practice, and then you can eventually attain the state of a Buddha. It's called the basis. All the four philosophical schools, they accept that there is conventional truth and ultimate truth. They accept the presentation of two truths, but they differ. It's different the way that they explain what is the two truths. It's different. And the explanations for the two truths are different, and the examples that they give for what is a conventional truth, what is an ultimate truth, they are different too. Nowadays, many people they might ask, when they hear there are four different philosophical schools, and they each say that this is the conventional truth, this is ultimate truth, no, it's this, not this, etc. So we might think, okay, but who is saying the truth here? So what is right? And if the other one is not right, then what is the purpose of studying this other one? Why don't I just pick the best one, the right one, and I study this one?
Nengochi Karaha Koko Sinra.
But what is one point that needs to be understood?
Tramtas Rere Ji Namsha, the Shake Japan Lamji Namsha, Ribbon Namshan to Shake Japan, the Latene, Mingatsu Mi Kanza, so come the Muba Madra. Gashi Chile, touching me to the Omani in the shakers, and into Dibana, Chetama in the shake of Shati Bay, Korang Masi Yamlina, Pepe Toshimuchore, Gashila Oma Gashila Saint Zambi Namsha. Tangas and touching and do not in your in the Demba in the Marisi, because she's a woman.
Because we all have different inclinations, we all have different backgrounds as practitioners, and when we study, when we encounter the explanation, for example, of the Great Exposition School or Sutra School or Mind-Only School about the basis, this can be beneficial for us, can be inspiring for us, it can help us to practice and to develop ourselves, or someone else might feel more benefit out of the middle way presentation of basis or path, etc. So because of this, whatever is more beneficial, then we incline to this direction because of our background. And we don't say that one is saying the truth, one is not saying a truth, one is right, the other one is wrong. We don't approach these studies, this topic, with this perspective, with this behavior.
Chini Benamaso did the temperature corlia, the deputy Chechudi, the me Mandawa, the Benson de Shana, me Mandawa Shelia, deputy on a Chechu, the Yashu, Jorangani, the Shejab Shalamna, me the Shechabre, Orangachija, which Chechikana. So they on a Chechu, ni the Shejab Chash. Ni Marangi, ni Tawasha Chindig on a Chechu Yashu, ni was a chigre. Koranga Tenashi Chere, Motana Chere, Kirantina Chivana. Motenda was she, and the Timta Soso, Limbani of Sashetum. Chutamjagatin, Chechu Mandawani, the Shita. Chechu. Hamjagatin the shop. Not the only Dikachi.
For example, when let's say we have a book, just a random book, any book. We have a book and we all have read this book. And now someone asks us, okay, so can you please explain what you think are the two main characteristics, main features of this book, main topics of this book? So I am going to explain what I think is the two main understandings. Geshe is going to explain what are his two main understandings. Ridi is going to explain, Raju is going to explain. And we are all going to differ. It's all going to be different what we think is the main point of this book, the main 2 points, etc. So in a similar way, when we talk about the two truths, when we're talking about the basis, these are the two characteristics that all phenomena have, the two main characteristics. But each philosophical schools, they're going to have a different answer to this characteristics.
And then the Tumta Soso to shake your day, and a so young Yabjunga, Conta Long, Sanjina, Tindia, Sonja, Contuni, so to shit. Sanja Son and the shit of Tamada, Coal and Tamada, the Leonge, and then the shit Timada Choirs. Timba Yi, Timba Ju, Sama de Shimada Yongue, the Nugani Lego. And Sanja Sonja, Sanja Son the man the shit Javical, Susu, Coal and Tamada. Don't down in the shit Yamade, or that's around the Sanja Son, Logionchene, Susu, Coal and Chintasha, and that's Susu, Coal and Tamada.
And also, in a similar way, so the way that these philosophical schools arose, so they were all based in what the Buddha has taught, in the teachings of the Buddha, but they all had different understandings, different interpretations of what these teachings were saying. Yeah, the main aspects, main points of this teaching.
Yeah. That didn't also teach Gogo Chiglia, and Tadi Tumta Delia Nambi Tumta Ma Jichi, Ane Ishimato, Nich, Nazi Kachet Chongyo Mare, Chiche, Nini Tachi Tebadele, Ane that Lamjik Kachisho, the Kachishana, Lamjia, Lamjik Tebadelia, Tebasum Lemato, Tepa Jimezia. Tadida Condition, Pena Tichimba, 아니 냥도랑 주숨세
그래서.
어디 다치 람근에 qabla sam lam야 장 람래 장들치 qabla야 소소 냠래 제도 qabla야 람래야 또바야 저기 qabla 숨요레시
숨이래.
로병 제사가 진짜 도시기나 로병 제사가 당보 아니 럽세 직장사 직디 따름도이나 시요레시 어디까지 지금
So we talk about 4 philosophical schools, 4 tenets, and there are 4 philosophical tenets. There's not a 5th philosophical tenet, and in a similar way, when we talk about the path, we talk about 3 vehicles of the Pratyeka Buddhas, the hearers, solitary realizers, and bodhisattvas. Yeah, hearers, solitary realizers, and bodhisattvas. And there are only 3 vehicles also. There is no talk about a 4th vehicle.
다 딘도 그 시오래 나는 저 지금 남비 따주셔야 되나 좀더 오마레 시온디야 지고 디와레 같이 시고 다
So Rika just asked the question in the chat. So she's asking, why are some tenets, some philosophical schools called lower philosophical schools, and the other ones are called higher philosophical schools? We have this distinction. And Geshe is replying that yeah, there is this distinction of lower and higher philosophical tenets, but this is not saying that there are like the worse philosophical schools and the better philosophical schools.
근데 아니 단단히 좀더 오마세 단니디 용도 건드려서 배는 와서 직 진짜는 지마서는 진짜 당보니 버슴바시야시요 양난 진짜 오마 강마시야시 같이 시고야 돼 그렇죠 럽센의 지나 럽센 거랑 아니 데 림바치는 장케시나 당보디 좀더 오마게 남셔도 장나 배 고대오다 데스 남사 고대오인 거 디기 남셔도 야보신 거 있잖아 되니 좀다 림베야 배나 당보 아니 치타마 되니 도디바 되니 센자바 되니 미치게 소서 림바치는 장에까나 장와라 때나 소소 디로 림바라 바베 오마시 타니 잠조레 마도 양고 직대 권이 양해를 지을 같이 말다 돼
So how do they get this term of being lower philosophical schools and higher philosophical schools? So it's in a similar way that for example in the school we have like the lower classes and higher classes, higher education, and we go from the first class to the second class, 3rd year, 4th year, etc. So in a similar way, when we study about the philosophical schools, there is a gradual approach. It's perceived to have a lot of benefit to study first, for example, the Sutra school, to then have an understanding of the mind-only school, and then having an understanding of the middle way school. So because of this, they're said to be lower and higher schools.
Yeah, 어디 직체 되네 딱 아니 경부잖아요. 양 따르거니 건데시 작권되나 따르면 따와랑 그 건데시 작권되나 양 좀다 단다 도디바다 치터마이다 따와 따르샤던다 아니 디니 센자마다 아니 너마바 그저 따와 버기 양 차라거니 그 신도는 대해서 차라도 그래 좀더 오마니 그 따와 작던데 이렇게 따와간 다 이제 가르가니나 아니 대스라 바차그레스 티차도 오마도 디시.
And there's also regarding their view when they present their view of object and subject and etc. All of their views, there is difference in subtlety in the understanding, in the presentation of the Great Exposition School, the Sutra School, and Mind Only and middle way school. So these higher tenets, they have more subtle understandings of the view of object and subject, etc. And the lower philosophical schools, they have a more coarse, a more superficial presentation of the views.
Yeah. 다들이 좋아하시는
Geshe ni geluk kagulat dewa yumrebe.
tele musi mra
Miximida.
be musi yo tadi ne ya chitwadi ti temta shede da gelu kanju tanda gelu kanju ningma se tanda tiso manche de ngaso pol ma ani sanje te matari kamle ti jile yang tin di chongsa ju shi tele ya ne temta shede la mandra wi chani tanda ngaso nombi kare pok temta se gona ra chulu mandra ti ka chet chongyo maris.
So Rika is asking if these four philosophical schools are not related to the Tibetan schools like Gelug, Kagyu, Nyingma, etc. And Geshe replies that no, there's no special relationship. So these Tibetan schools like the Gelug, the Kagyu, the Nyingma, the Sakya, they developed much later, already in Tibet. All the four philosophical schools, they're all from India, from ancient India. They don't have they don't have a special connection to one or another.
Yeah. What did you
You chat like you.
Yeah.
Я pensare. Krishna tutta kare gomshu. No, uma Krishna di kul chukur tama na do yumrebe. Krishna.
Okay. That to pay up to see what
Very good question. Yeah, it shows that you paid attention.
You can read this maybe.
Yeah. So Rika is saying that, asking how come that the highest school, so which is considered to be the middle way school, why isn't the highest school the one related to the third turning of the wheel? I'm sure we learned that later. She's asking, yeah, because the one related to the third turning of the wheel is the mind only school.
Yeah. That is the yang pun tu ra. Tadi in the shed Japan dana was this gonyorendona, how come I so sing it is the shed can they do
It's a good question. I'm afraid that if I try to explain correctly, it might be too confusing at this moment of our class, and but I'm gonna try to explain like briefly. I'm gonna try to say a bit about it.
Tandan kolo parbase di ane tanda im jindose shichimandose.
Yes, so the middle, the second turning of the wheel that the middle way school follows is the one that has the Prajnaparamita sutras, the perfection of wisdom sutras, etc.
Penada shiram nyembo tago kona shiram nyembo de kolo parbe kunto chichagre. Shiram nyembo.
For example, the Heart Sutra is inside the second turning of the wheel. You know the Heart Sutra, very famous.
Kasi ta shiram nyembo koronge ma tsukaptu ma takandana. Ani zigume dame treme rome zego ma boshi number sutta. Chichina loe robyong chi sigresi. Ante kaptu mantona tsukte yansambo yoresi to nade.
No, correct.
Ta zige yo ma dame kaya me chang sonsha yoresi. Ta di oma pa karako gresne ti meze tondate kora tsuk da chishimba mayimba tondate jamjong la shamba shio pa oma bitin de shija gresi.
Jamjong
Korang behind beyond the meaning shamba shio ba. Kapti zig mere laga me josh. Kapti shon corona kapti takandona ta de dangwizela tana me se mambo yori. Ta de no ji shinching do no pa mambo re. O de oma ba telente shekara je de taran sanje su res. Sanje son de taran ani osu gani taran kelen gari. Kelen ba na shing karche se ti tondo de mutela tayo mares tondo su karim bati di su chene korsu kelen rovers.
That's Gyojong di yoba shingi me ba.
Oh, that didn't yeah. So
during the perfection of wisdom sutras, and for example the Heart of Sutra, the Heart Sutra, which is among these sutras. So probably many of you have heard this many times. It says like no sound, no sound, no this, no that.
Zimedame, no form,
Zumedame.
Tremejome.
Yeah, no form, no sound, no da-da-da. It says many no's, basically. So just like this, just like in the Heart Sutra, there is it says like this. Also in the other Prajna Paramita Sutras, the other Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, there are many things that the Buddha said like this, with these words. And the middle way school, which are the followers of the second turning of the wheel, which is where this Perfection of Wisdom Sutras are included, they accept these words, but they of course they don't accept that sounds don't exist, or that forms are completely non-existent. They're going to, with their own background, with their own explanation, they're going to accept all of these words.
Yeah. The Tindi Dondola Rangime Pata, Tombani, the Tachi Dimber Mebate Tembiwache, so did Tembichani, and Kolo Babati Midong doing, but Oma became
Nidong.
Nidong, Nidong, the Oma became.
So
Chane Oma, but it's soon called Babich Rango.
So the what the middle way school is going to do, so before this, so it says that there's no sound, no form. So they're going to say that there is no inherent form, there is no inherent sound, or the sound doesn't exist truly, the form doesn't exist truly. And just with this interpretation, adding this, they accept the whole Perfection of Wisdom Sutras as having definitive meaning, instead of interpretative meaning. So because they accept to have definitive meaning like this, and they accept the whole sutras like this, they are followers of this second turning of the wheel.
Kolo tombe kablaya, kolo tambo, kolo nipa deshijanarisa, kolo tombe chidras. Kolo nipa dala toba choni, tene me mambu sonshanda, ti tonda karresi, tivales. Tivale onde tele sashe kichit, ti tonda de dansi, mere sevit, pe sebo pe soni, kolo tamata sonsh. Tene senzamba karsena, sanje son karena, da chishimba de, da chishimba kele yati nidongudo. Da chishimba. Kota somba naje kono kelenga. Tingi dongundo kelenga senzamba. Te chene senzamba de kola parbe. Kola tami chisindongwa. Kola tama nale sanje pe sibo sonsa. Yore se ta mere se tonda deinda pe sibo. Le par number chevi chungor se.
But after the second turning of the wheel, among the followers of the Buddha started to have a lot of doubt about the meaning of this Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, about the second turning of the wheel, because the way that it was said, saying like, this doesn't exist, it doesn't exist, there is no form, no sound, etc. So people started having doubts, and then the third turning of the wheel came to clarify, to clear away these doubts. And then in the third turning of the wheel, it's very clear what the Buddha, the Buddha is saying, what exists, what doesn't exist, what it means to exist, what it means to don't exist, etc. There are many clear explanations. And then the mind-only school, so the Chittamatras, the mind-only school, which take the third turning of the wheel to be the definitive meaning. So the middle way school takes the second turning of the wheel as a definitive meaning. The mind-only school takes the third turning of the wheel, and they are going to take this as definitive meaning. So they are followers of the third turning of the wheel.
Tando dana chimta shidi susu ni tanda kolo simgo jisan rangli kabla. Susu kolo simbo karigo jisan rangli kolo tita korong chimta susu nidong do kene.
Yeah, so the meaning here of being followers of this certain turning of the wheel, for example, the middle way school being the followers of the second turning of the wheel, the meaning of this is they accept this turning of the wheel to be the definitive meaning of the teachings.
Oh, yeah.
Not compared to interpretative meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's these two distinctions: definitive meaning and interpretative meaning, something that you interpret.
야, 다디니 당아서 다기 강시와 나셔리. 좀더 소소 시 남디버스 같이 시가라. 시 남샤세 데 덴바니 세데 상마 단위 참 찍고 되네 그래. 다기 공시 서로. 다들 간레진 기침 붙여 그랬어. 데 가르치는 기침 붙여 그랬어. 근데 단들라마네 아니 도 코로나 체 되네. 다른 공부를 줬다. 아니 반대 다와 고소 손샤야.
Okay, so as we were saying before, each of the philosophical schools they talk it's divided into three, right? So there is the basis, the path, and the result. The philosophical schools talk about this. Inside the basis, we talk about the two truths, conventional truth and ultimate truth. They all accept this term, two truths. And why is it important, this study, this presentation of the two truths? So here there's some quotes from Arya Nagarjuna. Okay.
Yeah, that dino ya sanje chik kasong sha yorezen deje sha bi kuzob dang selo de manistik che sanje korangi ne korangi tuks che ze de korangi kar ha ko ya korangi kar shi yores ya de kuzob dang ton dem de manistik che des ta korangi ne ma ne shibar chawa de kuzob da ton dem ba ton do de na dini kon ares do de na shi cha de tsuddu sha na.
Okay, so first there's a quotation here from a sutra. So it's a word from the Buddha, Shakyamuni. So it says, sorry, I didn't translate to English beforehand this, but he says that the Buddha perceives conventional truth and ultimate truth, and all phenomena, everything, if you condense, everything in brief, it's only conventional or ultimate. So this So in brief here, what's saying that when we look at anything, when we look at any phenomenon, there are two ways of looking at things.
And perception, the reality. Tanda donda karsine. Tanda perception, tanda chikmatso, and non-self zet, non-self, nesel sekashi. Non-self zet, mancho, kurzub dembazeti, non-self, somebody. Tang when it's it, nesel, karane mani, shekandana, tundam demban, shekur. When it non bitarum kani shekandana, Tadema imba masu yang chiktiala nesa non-self, she the yorwa.
So maybe some of you have been to the discussion in the library in this weekend with the scientists and the Buddhist scholars. So the topic of this discussion was perception and reality, right? And when we talk about perception, usually most perceptions, they are related to the conventional truth. They're in the conventional level. And when we talk about reality, we are talking about the ultimate truth, about the way that things actually exist. And of course, we can also say about reality in a superficial way or in a more deep way. So there are different ways of explaining reality too. But when we talk about in the context of the philosophical schools of Buddhist philosophy, then this is the separation. When we talk about reality, we're talking about the ultimate reality of phenomena.
Tandi kesat shekanto di ta tondam da kuzuk ne de kanles in kitchen bu chagres shura de kitchen bu chadang kandre zone da namjing ma su ge chi ani ta mi chi ma sen on ke shekanto na ya ani chi samlo tang tang ge chala ya ko ni ngwe dan thamba ta man thamba se ni ke che chore so so chi ge lo jong de chi kar chi to chi pa so understand very 소소지 되네요. 좋으니까 돼. 좋으래. 배는디 인다. kurjubda tondam zed ambi
Sono
shong
totali con il monetano tu
karike ne
paio
kench pen nga so mechik ma se nang la yang chik sablo tang tang ge chan yang ngoy dan thamba tang man thamba ni yo cho re ngoy dan thamba ro ngoy dan thamba da man thamba ni ze ka chik che ta ngoy dan thamba ze de yang chik ya sha kya thamba thamba me na ya ko ra pa chik chok sam thamba yo cho e nga so chik ko ra pa chik ga ne yang ta da shi ne dia ngoy ne sala do na yang te men jo e ka ta da men jo tin yo cho re se
Munitsuno mingi.
Pena
Okay, so here we're talking about conventional truth and ultimate truth, right? The two truths. And why is it important also for us to explore about these two truths? So usually in our day-to-day life, there are basically two ways of thinking. There are two ways that we think in our daily lives. One, we think in harmony or in accordance to the way that things actually are, to the reality of the situation, or we can also think in not in accordance to the way that things actually are. So not in accordance to reality. And there are also many different stages. So if you're thinking in accordance to reality, it doesn't have to be 100% in accordance to reality, to the way that things actually are, but there are also stages into thinking in this direction.
Yeah. Ta pena pension de shana.
For example,
God they want to shana pena ngaso ni shi touch na sum tesa manchial. Kabar pecho matang yo mara. Ta kabar pecho tang kono le ngone chana pe rimba ni shi masana. Chara pe mambo shi yo chogro. Ta ngaso ngara sole goya chi raba chi pecho tang yo ta. Ko kabar jawe chi ta chi ko raba chi ma ngoye ngaso di kabar de pecho sama ngaso tongtu mar. Ta ina ngara sole goya chi dentro wena so raba nam sha kan ke shi na tanda kunzum ka kan yin shi ke shi ho ta. Ta ngoye ni che ke kabar ke te ko te le ka koran che kan na thara pe mo bo shi do do. Thara. Ta deni chi dentro wo sha ta ngoye ni che kabar koran ga ni li ngoni chi ka na se shi. Ta tam kan ke shi kan na. Ti tondam ga nam sha se te le yang ge wa ka shi ko. Go nyore do so peti.
Okay. So for example, so nowadays we all have a smartphone, right? We all use smartphones. Sorry, could Itamar? Okay, no, he's gonna watch later. Okay. So we all use smartphones. And
Pena ngaso chike kabar pecho tang chibol ndi she jamnas. Ko ngarang raba gani pecho tang chik. Kabar ke chawa kare na sama shini pecho tang shinke. Ko tang ramba ni ramba charang ramba bo chik tawasi. Te sama de kabar korang kechu chik yo chik. Ngarang so ro ina ta kabar jawe chik ta te ngo shiba sam shimato. Parjab shiba sam mato. Ngani shigo maras. Ta sama kabar gani kechu manda charang mambo yo chik. Ta dizdo ina tanda disun deshe tisu ngaso kuzub
ni rakwadi kuzub
dawo shires.
Okay,
Ta tamo nabja shibate ani ta ngoni chena ta te tondam reta kachi shago marada ina tondam ko kabar ka nili ngoni tsikando na ta chang tamo shiko yores.
Yeah, so for example, just one example. So we all use smartphones nowadays, and these smartphones, they are very very advanced piece of technology actually, but and it has many characteristics, many features, many capabilities. But how do we usually use them? So we use them to take pictures, we use them to send text, etc. It doesn't go very deep into the capabilities of this smartphone. So this is a bit related to the conventional truth, the way that we usually live our life. And then there are different ways also of using this phone. If we want, we can. There are people who know how to use this completely in a way that in a way related to ultimate truth. So the meaning is that the phone has all of these features. It has the superficial features. It has the profound features at the same time. Ultimate truth would be like trying to see exactly what is the phone in an ultimate way. Yeah.
다이나 녀다치 녀다베 가르선 거 녀사부 가르선 당원이 니세데 뭐이 니세래야 뎀바시에 뭐이 니세세데 가르레 다직세 가체데 니세그라 다직 돈담비 오늘 뎀바시에 가르레 다 고지 그쪽 남자세 가르레세 디가시데 레온데 다디 강나 좀다 소소 만다와다 당가서 지마 종나 디마 데니 소소 샤탄 디강네 데뱅고 녀버
Yeah, it can start to get a bit confusing, or it can start to get a bit confusing when we ask ourselves, what is the ultimate way that this phone exists? You know, what is the final mode of existing of all phenomena, including this phone? Then each philosophical school has a different approach to explaining this characteristic of phenomena, and this is I'm hearing myself, and this is something that we will go. It's okay, that we will go in the next classes too.
Yeah.
How they explain.
Kadini nga tsundi ane nemba nyize de kiche tang de kane kichimbo yima tsichido de kola ma de shich de de shu de jelian number 2 200 yana de tang lo chisira.
Sangin and Geshe the vanilla then.
Tadini ane delian gombo ledu gar son jare sanje gi chuten ja de demba ni la ndre menju chu sa ni yo mares sanje nam ji chuten ba demba ni la yang ta dance. Demani la teni sanji chu tamshet di ma sonsha yores demani dandreyo yana kurzo yana dandam kani tatan chikche ane karze na jikten kurzo demba da tambi to ni demba wasi odi dando da na kurzo da tondam na tan jikten ze de ande shija kwando na gonyo ore dosare
Yes, so just reading the quotes here about the two truths. So Adi Nagarjuna, he says that Sanginam Geshe Tempa. So all the teachings of the Buddhas, of all the Buddhas, they are perfectly, you know, condensed into this teaching of the two truths. This is the basis of the teachings of the Buddha, which are the conventional truth and the ultimate truth. Yeah.
Ta dene ene karza ta kanta ase ta mi sunu shigena demba ni nabsha machina ase deni namra shibate ya ko ja machina te dan sanje tambana ane ta samoteni namish ta sanje ma sonja e ta chikuni pe tensa po namja ta sani shita humares
Papa Lutupreve.
re tagaro tin
And also Ida Nagarjuna, for those who don't know, a very, very famous ancient master. Haridi, can you maybe just a little bit lower? She's listening to the class here. It's a bit weird to hear my voice. You can turn up a little bit more. It's okay. Yeah. So Ida Nagarjuna, he said that whoever doesn't understand the divisions of these two truths, this person cannot understand deeply the teachings of the Buddha.
Ta deonde ta chik do dana ne tanyela ta dindewe tanyela mate tambi don to ane tamanis ta bena ne di kashi shor ta kuzo ka namsha te kashi ane an dondam ka namsha ngwe ni tse ka namsha te dondam be ngwe ka ni tse ne so shap se nda te ya namsha te sheban ro ya la ya ane kuzo ka namsha te den ko re kuzo namsha te she ko res te la ma sheba tam.
And also something that Ida Nagarjuna said, so translating literally here, not relying on conventions, not relying on terms, on words, it's not possible to understand the perfect meaning, and not realizing the perfect meaning, it's not possible to achieve liberation. So the meaning here is that to understand, to realize the ultimate nature of reality, the ultimate truth of the way things exist, it's essential to rely on the conventional truth. It's essential to rely on words and on the conventional truth in order to understand the ultimate truth. That's what he said.
Tateno Shinkini, but the Dawetame, the Dawa Karsone. Tanya Dembasi, Tatichibari. Tanya Demba Tapsicurba, Tundam Demba Tachon Curbates. Deni Navi Kangi Mishipa Tena. A tenor Namto Lopil Namishuk Sionde. Tandodana, Tanya Dembasion come to any Kuzuk Nabjatis. Kunzo Nabjate, Tundam Ganabja Shiva, Tabres. Cotelia.
And also Chandrakirti in the introduction to the Middle Way, he says that the conventional truth is the best method to understanding the ultimate truth, and not understanding this too. So by the power of the discursive thoughts, we enter into a wrong path. We go into a wrong path. So he also puts the conventional truth as a way, a method to understand ultimate truth. Yeah.
Tadi to the Natsu Tondor the Karasongo Resena. Deni Navjati Doton Yabo Shisona, Deni Navjati Chikone Sosogani, Takansalo Jonzinanda, Di Gani Navja Yabo Shisona, Tangazo Namji, Tachik Simgana Namtok Chik Tawa Chikazo, Tawabasirkanata counter. When is that a Mantembe, some Mamboic, Susu Tijini, and Pator.
So in brief here, also what all these masters are saying, basically what all of these masters are saying is that through the study of this topic that we are going to study in the next classes, of this basis of the two truths, on top of this we can understand the view of the path, and we can avoid many discursive thoughts, many wrong ideas, wrong views about what is the path, etc. So these are the bases upon which we can build something up. So it's very important to study this and understand what they say about it.
The question?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Geshe, can you give us examples of conventional truths? Because if it's important to understand situations conventionally, can you give us some examples?
An example of conventional truth and the ultimate truth, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's only also the Korea, Penson, Koran de Shaptan to the Soso Madoi, great teaching. Chiton Chashi or Masian Ticos. Then I'm Junguch coach to Shigamna.
Yeah, so about conventional truth, what are examples of conventionality, conventional truth? So this, with each philosophical schools, there are different ways of talking about this. And our plan is to go more in detail, more deeply, more extensively about what is conventional, what is ultimate, etc. But just to explain now in a brief, general way.
Tapena maso chick, Natunimare, Suinolea. That's it. Tinishungora, Suitole, that's Karina, Tungure Pena. The Kamdo in a Karina Pechutam, Temdo, the Jonah Karina Pechutam, the Richie. This is some of them as a chick. Co candy, your rate, chick, co candy tomato, and Drea Corayomar, Tawomar. Tit Matavican, Corapi, Navshakan, Colatata chick. Or a Pechutam, Colatata, the chick. Then they not so Kazok and Gani Tatanris. Kazok and Amsha, Kazok. Tachi Tatanga you need to your research.
So in an easy to understand way, brief, like what it means by conventional truth is usually in our daily lives, as we're going about our lives, we're working, we're studying, etc. Anything. So for example, right now I see this cup and I want to drink coffee. So I'm seeing a cup, I'm seeing coffee. I'm not asking myself, how does this cup come to be? What is the nature of this cup? What is the nature of coffee? What it means to be coffee, what it means to be a cup. I'm not asking what is the reality of this. And this way of seeing things, that is our way of living our lives. Because of this perception, then there is the conventional truth, These are the conventionalities, though, this cup, table, etc.
가서는 그때 다른 뒤진이 가서는 벤도 마보시 좀 그트 세고 그 덴바레세고 다른 뒤 남사랑이 가는 가서는 벤도 빼먹고 줬다 그래. 그 배치 열에 다른 뒤 내가 제그래 다른 뒤
And these things, they have function, like I use a cup for something, I use the table, so they benefit us by having a function. So they are a truth too. It's not that they're a lie, they are true. We use them.
다이나요 잠살로 가서 다른 뒤 자샤 자탐바 저근도에세 다디 드발이 그리세.
But then we can ask, is this okay? It's true, but is this way of seeing 100% right or correct or good?
다른 뒤 나나 컨데요레세나 다른 뒤 제주는 유르당 맞수 일진 단계대당 바슈 유르니까 저야면 근데 코로니 빠르리야 장치 가서 진짜 뭐 보시하랬어.
Because in this way of seeing things, in this conventional way of seeing things, using things, a cup, coffee, etc., this perception doesn't consider the relationship between the object and the subject, for example. So the subject, which is I or my mind, and the object, they appear, if I don't have this ultimate perception, they appear to be unrelated. They appear not to be related, and it appears to have some distance. We are distant from the objects. There is some distance between the subject and the object.
That's conventional.
Yes, in the conventional way of seeing things, there is this distance. There's no connection between the subject and the object. Okay.
다이나요 뒤 따동 뒤 식체를 제는 로잖아. 코로나 랑군이 봐. 코로나 스강에 두메 그랑와.
And if this perception, this conventional perception, improves, develops, it becomes stronger, then for example, this cup starts to